Hello guys, welcome to my channel The Less is More. So today we'll discuss an editorial from the Hindu, and it is about the Chandrayaan 3 as we have successfully touched down our feet on the moon, that is by ISRO. And so on that remark I would like to thank ISRO and its team for their persistent efforts. Okay, so I would like to congratulate the whole team of ISRO and its scientists and all the employees who work there and give big or small contribution in making ISRO a well-known space agency. Okay, so let's start the editorial. The title of the editorial is On the Moon, Over the Moon. Chandrayaan 3 signals the launch of India's time in space exploration. At 5:40 pm on August 23, the Chandrayaan 3 lander was a 1.7 ton hunk of metal, plastic and glass speeding in an orbit some 30 km above the moon. But in the next 23 minutes, it had made a history by slowing down, righting itself, and guided by a suite of sensors and actuators, gently descending to the moon's surface. As it touched down shortly after 6 pm, people gathered at the various Indian Space Research Organization centers and across India were jubilant. India is the only fourth country in history to have soft landed a spacecraft on the moon and the first to have done so in the moon's south polar region. The feat illustrated by a simple fact of complex space flight missions. By virtue of their enormous hunger for resource but at the same time capacity for caprice, succeeding at them is indistinguishable from a triumph of human will. That is why they are capable of galvanizing people as Chandrayaan 3 has now done for India. The immediate implication of Chandrayaan 3 lander now sitting on the moon is that ISRO took away the right lessons from the failure of the preceding mission. Chandrayaan 2 in September 2019, as the Chandrayaan 2 lander was 2.1 km above the lunar surface, ISRO lost contact. Based on data transmitted by the lander until then and that from other sources including the Chandrayaan 2 orbiter, ISRO pieced together the distal cause of the lander's premature demise. Experts at ISRO then modified 21 subsystems to give rise to the upgraded Chandrayaan 3 lander. The latter is particularly distinguished by the redundancies built into it. If one component or process had failed, another would likely have taken over. Taking a broader view of time, Chandrayaan 3 sits at an important juncture. India is now a member of the Artemis Accord, the US-led multilateral effort to place humans on the moon by 2025 and thereafter to expand human space exploration to the Earth's wider neighborhood in the solar system. Given the first that India has now achieved, it has an opportunity to lead the other Artemis countries interested in maximizing the contributions of the space sector to their economies. Alongside the US, while Russia and India were not racing to land on the moon this week, the failure of Russia's Luna 25 spacecraft on August 19 foretells the country's ability to contribute in more limited fashion, in this decade at least, to the International Lunar Research Station program, which it leads together with China as a parallel axis to the Artemis Accords with Chandrayaan 3. India has also demonstrated familiarity with the major types of interplanetary spacecraft: orbiter, lander and rover. The Chandrayaan 3 rover is rudimentary and speaks to an important focus area for Indian space program, the planning and implementation of scientific mission. The data from Chandrayaan 3's scientific instruments will be crucial because the mission will be the first to physically, chemically and thermally characterize the soil, subsoil and air near the moon's south pole on location. India has some measure of technological superiority now compared to most other spacefaring countries, and it should praise the advantage by going to more place in the solar system and conducting stellar science. The better space-based scientific instruments currently operated by India are largely concerned with Earth observation and remote sensing. AstroSat is a notable exception, as the forthcoming Aditya L1, ExpoSat and Nissan missions are expected to be. In the relatively recent past, Chandrayaan 1 was scientifically well equipped, whereas the Mars orbiter mission had room for improvement. It was a technology demonstrator, but at the same time, it did get to Mars. Better science results demand more investment in research, both in public and private sector, rather than spending cuts and mission design that put scientific outcomes before engineering thresholds and launchability. The landing also brings to a close the second phase of India's lunar exploration program. The third phase will begin with a collaboration between ISRO and the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency JAXA for the Lunar Polar Exploration mission, which also involves a lander and a rover that will study water ice at the Moon's south pole. LUPEX is set to use the landing system that ISRO developed for Chandrayaan 2 and 3. This is an important reason why the failure of the surface component of the Chandrayaan 2 mission placed its successor under great pressure. It is notable that this is the gear that Russia was to provide for Chandrayaan 2, but could not in the aftermath of its ill-fated Phobos Grunt mission in 2011, prompting ISRO to develop one on its own. Finally, ISRO is on roughly fixed path vis-a-vis future missions from which deviations such as those as a result of Chandrayaan 2 and the COVID-19 pandemic, but also the sluggish production of rockets, are financially and politically expensive. The success of Chandrayaan 3 gives ISRO the confidence to graduate to the next steps. Satellites powered by electric motors, quantum communication, human space flight, reusable launch vehicle, planetary habitation and interplanetary communications, to name a few. The commerce of space also demands a greater launch cadence and lower launch costs. Private sector contribution to many of these aspects will be crucial, especially to accelerate innovation and open new vistas in which this renewed vector of human enterprise can contribute to India's development. India is over the moon. From now on, ISRO will have the chance to lead from the front. So this was for today, as we have taken this because yesterday ISRO has successfully accomplished its Chandrayaan 3 mission. Okay, so let's find out the 5 sensors and actuators. Then soft landing. Third, right lesson from Chandrayaan 2. Enormous. And fifth is galvanizing people. Okay, so this was for today, and I would also recommend you to write down 5 new words that you find suitable for you. Okay, so that you can improve upon your conversation and writings. Okay, so till then, bye bye, signing off for the day.